I was wrong. Let's just start there. I was wrong about wanting more realism in games. For years, I was under the impression that realism is always a good thing. And to a certain extent, I still believe that. I really do. But there comes a point to where you cross into the territory where realism mechanics affect the gameplay, and not in a good way. All right, and to me, there's a cause for concern for that. I've always been slightly annoyed in the past where, the first-person shooters allowed you to reload constantly without any kind of penalty, basically an infinite magazine pool. And a few games came along, Red Orchestra, Insurgency, Arma, even Viet Cong to an extent, where it kept count of your magazines individually. All right, and so if you tossed a, half an empty mag in Arma, it was gone forever. You lost that ammo. You wanted to run everything dry. And then, in some of the other games, it kept count of it. So in like Red Orchestra, you ran out through half a mag and you hit reload, you would save that mag for later. It would come back in a rotation. And so you had to choose, I just used about 10 rounds out of this. It holds 30. I'll save this for later. Or, I've used 18 rounds. It's got 12 left. I'm just going to run it dry and then reload. And then you skip to games like now we've got Escape from Tarkov, which I'll go ahead and tell you, hyper realistic game, and Escape from Tarkov, you kept your magazines usually in a rig, and you would drag a stack of loose ammo onto the magazine and it would reload it instantly. And, they kept telling us, we're going to add some animations. It's going to be a little bit longer. It won't be like that. You have to be more consistent and more, focus on your shooting. You can't just dump a mag and then reload it. Well, a couple patches ago, they put it in, and now you drag a stack of ammo onto your magazine and you load each round individually. And you have to keep your inventory open, blocking your whole screen, because the moment you close out of your inventory, you stop reloading. So, sounds great, and don't get me wrong, there are still situations that spawn out of that are really fun, really entertaining, because, you got half a mag, you ain't got time to reload, what are you going to do? But now, unfortunately, it usually ends with me hiding in a bush, twiddling my thumbs, waiting for my mags to reload. And it's not that entertaining after the first 10 times. And recently I've dogged on Star Citizen for its inclusion of its realism mechanics. And on top of the previous mentionings of previous videos, they've now added passenger trains, which not only include the ride time of said trains, but the wait time if you miss the train. Yeah, sounds neat and interesting on paper, I guess, but in practicality, it's about as consistently entertaining as watching an advertisement for the 15th time. I've changed. My schedule has changed. My free time has changed. I don't have the time to waste 30 to 40 minutes to actually enjoy 10 minutes of gameplay. I've come full circle. I've wanted more realism and deeper mechanics, and games kept adding both. And now I'm at the point I just want simplicity for fun's sake. When I was younger, I had more free time. Sure, this would have been heaven. But now my free time is fleeting. And games as a whole, they're requiring vast time sinks now, more and more time spent. And that's really another topic for a different video, but I'm just going to boil it down. It's difficult for a developer to balance people who have an hour or two a day to game versus people that have 6 hours or even more a day to play. Days off are going to boost that time, but you're basically looking like me, pushing it. I have 10, maybe 12 hours to play a week. I'm in the same boat as people that have 35 to 40 hours or more to play a week. All right, the ugly truth is there's never going to be a way to balance that. There just isn't. Okay, it's about the point to where I am right now. I need to hang up the towel for multiplayer games in general. I'm not going to have the time to learn the mechanics, or the shortcuts or earn the unlocks or earn the loadouts. It's just not going to happen. And that again, that one's a different topic too. But back to my point, I was wrong. If you have ample free time and patience, maybe these ever-deepening time sinks are a savior. The longer the game can keep you occupied, the better. But for me, it really hits me in the face as artificial inflation. It's added fluff. Some of these mechanics, they sound amazing on paper or even look good in a trailer, but by the time you're done repeating them over and over, it's a chore. It's not a feature anymore. And some of the games I purchased, are they a mistake? Is it on me? Are some of these games that I purchased, is all the blame placed solely on me because I don't have the availability to play them? I don't have the patience. Is it me? Maybe. Probably. But at the same time, maybe there's a way that developers should find a way to balance playtime. Maybe there needs to be a new standard, required minimum time per week. And then on top of that, there could be the recommended time per week. Maybe an average run for an average game, an average round, whatever. And you get to the point to where there's people that just don't have the time. If you're a parent right now and you're watching this or you're listening to this, you understand when I say there are times and situations, especially in the middle of the night, where your kids or your spouse/significant other, they need you. Not in 20 minutes, not when the round ends, they need you now. And I'm going to gloss over all the multiplayer games that punish you for leaving early, as silly as that sounds. And even me, in my case, my health issues. Sometimes they spring up, I have no warning, no prior notice, and I'm out. I'm out of commission for a while. And let's take Escape from Tarkov as an example. If you've been following along, it's going to take me a month, maybe more, to earn a loadout that usually takes most typical people a week or less to get. Okay? And the problem is when I get to die in that game and people get to loot me and sell my stuff, I'm basically forfeiting all of my previous time up until that. And the worst part about it is, throughout that month, I may have been having to step away continually, so it's taken me longer than a month to get it. But the problem is I have less time to quote unquote get good and learn the maps and learn which loadouts and watch the spreadsheets. It gets to point back to where I'm, it just takes me longer to get back to where I started. And then you roll over into where I get this feeling like developers are having to be more grandiose because they have to stick out and they have to add these features that sound crazy and look great. They're riveting. The trailer looks juicy, but it's marginally entertaining in the long term. It even hinders the game long term. And in fact, I actually watched a streamer who was basically screaming and complaining that the leveling in his favorite specific game that he played every day should be lengthened because it only took him 80 hours. Only 80 hours to reach a level cap, and he reached it in a week and a half. And basically, he told anybody, look, if you don't have the time, if you don't have that kind of time to play, your opinion is basically worthless, and you should shut up, and you don't have a right to speak your mind because, hey, if you've got a full-time job or family, you shouldn't play games at all, period, ever. You can't taint his game with your casual 20 hours a week. They shouldn't have to balance for that. And then the problem is like, we all can kind of laugh at that, but he wasn't alone in that mindset. His chat was very agreement with him. And then when he posted the video to YouTube, it was a huge, all in his comment section. Yeah, these casuals only have 20, 30 hours a week. Guys, I don't know what to tell you. If you think 20, 30 hours a week of playing games is casual, you're crazy. And there's after watching stuff like that, reading stuff like that, there's been kind of a subtle shift in my thinking. It's starting to snowball over the last few months. For me, games are a form of entertainment. It's an interactive media. I pay developers the service of having fun. I've talked about that before. The issue is if the game isn't fun anymore, but it's just a time sink, just a time waster, where's my incentive to even consume that media? My free time is about having fun, not grinding away at the possibility of having fun eventually. I'm not going to purchase games anymore that rely on that because time sink is one thing, because you want to get time out of your game. But if it's not because of mechanics and having fun, if it's just basically stuff's hidden behind a grind wall or a paywall or a time sink, it's not fun anymore. Why am I paying people to waste my time? But tell me what you think. That's my video. It's it's not a positive rambling again, but it's something that's been bothering me, especially these last few weeks. And, after the streamer went on and did that and dogged everybody who didn't have, 50 hours a week to spend on a game, I'm like, I got to say something. Because I'm not the only schmuck who's here is looking at maybe, 10 to 12 hours a week is like, hey, I have a full life. I like the game to unwind. I shouldn't be stuck having to devote time to grind. That's ridiculous. But anyway, tell me what you think. It's Thursday. Y'all have a good weekend. I'll catch you around.